Okay, good morning. This is Mr. Steyer. This is a message that I did not anticipate ever having to tell any of my students or parents, but because of the situation and obviously the U.S. and the world is in right now, it has been decided that it's in our best interest to not cancel, but move the Washington, D.C. trip. I want to be very clear on that. Even though things could change in a month, looking ahead economically, looking at businesses, and everything's going to be up in the air. It really is in our best interest to get ahead of the game a little bit and make a decision on the trip. So that being said, here is a sheet, and I'm going to attach this with the message as well. So you'll have a hard copy of it if you don't quite understand what I'm talking about here, and I'll try to be pretty thorough. That explains what we're going to do. So the long and short of it is that we're going to double up next year's trip. This has been approved by the administration. It's our best option right now. Some people have said, well, could we go during summer? That's impossible to get everybody on board for. Fall is probably out of the question, and some kids will be in football or cheerleading or other things that will not allow them to take a Friday off. So our best bet is that we double up with this year's 7th grade and this year's 8th grade to go on a trip combined. That will be May 12th through the 16th in 2021. It shouldn't be an issue because this year was only going to be one bus. Next year looks like it, next year's trip originally with the 7th graders is only going to be one bus, I think. So even if we did 2, we've done that before. We did that last year. If we do 3, that's not impossible either because it probably won't be a full bus. But obviously there are some logistics to work out on this, but that is what we're going to do. So we will combine the trip next year from May 12th through the 16th. So what that means for the kids and the chaperones, first of all, any chaperones, so don't forget to talk about this, any chaperones that are signed up for this year's trip, you can still be involved. We're going to transfer everything over, and then it's up to you to decide what you're going to do. But I'm letting you know a year in advance, so that way you will be the first to be able to sign up. I'm not going to nix anybody out of the trip. So this year's chaperones, you'll transfer to next year if you want to do it. I'm not going to take any other chaperones on for this year's 8th grade group yet. If the time comes that we need some more, then we'll figure that out. But that's a long ways off. There's a lot to be decided at the time. So here are your options of what we're going to do. So obviously I talked about the date, so just jot that one down. So you have several options, actually like 1, 2, 3, 4 options for the your kids. So the first thing that obviously can be done and has already been done and can be changed is that everybody's just going to transfer over to next year's trip. You will not owe anything else as far as I know. That's the hope. It should be all paid up. If you paid up, then you're good to go. So option 1, which is actually the third one here, is remain on the trip list and you go with next year's 8th graders. Now I recognize that there might be, it's later in May, so I don't know if track would be an issue, softball, baseball, but you know, it's not compared to the Friday nights with football and cheerleading, so it's a little bit better. Let's see. So the other option, option 2, is right now you can take a 50% refund and not attend the trip next spring. Now, if you take that option, you cannot get put back on next year. So that's entirely up to you and your family. Now, I know some people might balk at the 50% refund, but that is standard fare for travel companies. So close to the date that we're going to go, this is what they have, so that's what they're going to offer. So if you want to take that, I'll let you know what you can do in just a second. Third option, if you paid for the trip insurance, you can ask for a refund and you'll get a larger refund than you would if you did not have the policy. So non-policy for insurance, you get 50% right now. Those are trip insurance. I think you would only lose the first security deposit. Everything else would be okay, and you would get back. So that's your option. Again, if you take that option and get out of the trip now, then your child will not be eligible to take the trip in next spring. That's just the way we're going to do that. The 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the next one, this one's a little more confusing. But what you can do if you don't want your child to go and you want to get all of your money back, you can transfer your payments to a student who has signed up for next year's trip or will sign up. So in other words, if your family knows a 7th grader who's going to go next year and you just want to slide your funds to them, you can do that. But here's the kicker. You and that family will then need to figure out the finances on it. That will not be done by the school. That will not be done by World Strides. Now, World Strides will transfer it over to the other student who's eligible for next spring, but you and that family will need to work that out in terms of payment back. So that's how that one will work. So that one will have a little more difficulty, but you can just literally pay it forward, but then get paid back by that family. So down here is where it talks about where you contact. Do not contact me other than if you're going to drop out of the trip. That way I know in advance. Do not contact the school. We don't handle the money. You need to call World Strides customer service at the number that's here that is shown. You have some time to do this. It's not any hurry, but you have until August 1st, 2020 to transfer it over, and I believe also for the refunds as well. But that doesn't have to be done so quickly because World Strides is getting hammered with questions and different things, so their phone lines aren't always available. So that's what I have for you. So again, DC trip is going to get moved to next spring, May 12th through the 16th. I don't anticipate any problems. I think that this year's group will be or would have been a good one anyways. The 7th graders next year should be fine. We'll have plenty of chaperones. It's just, you know, working out the little details on it. So that's it. If you have any questions, please let me know. Email is probably the best way, and then I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So thank you. I apologize for this, but nobody saw this coming. So those are the details. Thanks a lot.